Welcome everyone. We are live with another episode of Level Up Law, where every Tuesday at noon, South Carolina Legal Services is leveling up your legal knowledge on an area of law that we practice in. Today, we are going to be finishing our series for Consumer Protection Month, which ended last week in March. And we have been talking about our Scam Hall of Shame. So Once Upon a Scam has been a great series, and today the last installment is on job schemes and job opportunity scams. So I will be sharing with you some information about those, some of the old time scams, but also some of the new recent trends and things you need to be watching out for. But before we get started, I do want to remind everybody that this is not legal advice. We're not your lawyer. This is not advice for you to rely on. It's just general information for the public. If you do have a legal issue and you need assistance, you can always call our intake line or apply online. All that information is going to be shown to you in just a minute, but also at the end of today's presentation. So for now, I want you to scan that QR code, and that will allow you to sign up to get our newsletter, which will have a new newsletter coming out soon. So you want to sign up for that. But there's also ways to sign up to get alerts and notifications about upcoming episodes of Level Up Law and other resources that we have for you here at South Carolina Legal Services. So definitely be scanning that QR code. We'll show that to you again at the end of today's presentation. One more QR code for you. Every week we ask for suggestions about an episode of Level Up Law. If you have a suggestion for us, something maybe that's a subject you'd like to know more about, just drop it in the chat, or feel free to, if you're on the replay, watching on the replay on our YouTube channel, you can put a request in the comments, and we will try to accommodate what you guys out there need to know. So there's that. And here's all of the ways to connect with us. Most importantly, we do have our YouTube channel, and you can find there all of the past episodes of Level Up Law. This episode will also be posted there on our YouTube channel. We have a Level Up Law playlist, and that's where you can find all those episodes. So we invite you to go there and find all the information that you might be looking for when it comes to legal matters. Again, there's that QR code to check that out. All right, so let's talk about spotting and avoiding job schemes and job opportunity scams. And there's a lot of it out there, right? And it's hard to get all the details in one little episode of Level Up Law. So we'll have some future episodes that we'll be bringing to you for some of the ones we just don't have time to cover today. April is actually Financial Literacy Month, so I think it definitely makes sense for us to finish up our current series of episodes on our Scam Hall of Shame. Always remember, and this is one of the great graphics that we get from the Federal Trade Commission, which does a wonderful job on fraud and identity theft. If you're looking for work, the scammers are out there looking for your money and your information, and they know how to get it. They're pros. So we're going to talk about some of the ways that they do that. And before we even get into the specific of scams, here's the two websites that the FTC has created for the purpose of not only reporting scams and fraud, but also reporting identity theft. So definitely check these out and go there if you know of a phony job opportunity, even if you didn't get scammed by the job opportunity, but you you got the information and you knew it was a scam, report that to the FTC because they are checking these things out all over the country trying to track these folks down. And it's not an easy job. So the more reports they have about particular schemes, the better off we are. And then if any of your personal or financial information that you may have, in general, obviously, report that to identitytheft.gov. But in particular, for today's purposes, if you gave your personal information or financial information because you were applying for a job or thought you were applying for a job, definitely you want to report that if your information gets stolen. So to do that, identitytheft.gov. Okay, one last thing that I want to mention before we get into the specific scams is a theme that goes throughout all of the scams, and that is the fake check scam. Okay. So many of these job opportunities involve you as the applicant receiving a check, and you think you're actually getting money. Maybe you think you're getting a signing bonus of some sort, or a check for supplies, or something like that. But it turns out that the check is fake. And when you deposit it in your bank account, of course, it takes a few days for them to figure out that it's a fake check. So usually what the fake check scam involves is you writing out another check supposedly out of the funds that you just got. Maybe it's for supplies, or you'll see some of the things that can happen in these different job opportunities. So don't ever deposit those fake checks. In fact, I had a family member who that happened to one time, and they just didn't know what to do with the check. I said, shred it. It's no good. All right. Couple of recent trends I think we need to talk about because of kind of sort of post-pandemic stuff. And that is working remotely, because so many people are looking for those remote work jobs. And there are a lot of good, legit remote work jobs out there. And then working from home. That's always been a thing that people have wanted to do, but even more so now. So we'll do a little review of some of those work from home scams that have always been around. Okay. Here's just kind of an example where you may have seen a job listing that is something of interest to you. Here we're talking about maybe translating or data entry, things that you can do remotely. It just requires a computer and a connection to the company. And actually, scammers are getting on these legitimate websites, ZipRecruiter, Indeed, things like that. And they go everywhere. Scammers can get onto legitimate websites to scam you. And so don't think that just because you see that job opportunity on a job website, don't think that that means it's legit. You still got to do your due diligence to make sure that everything is legit. So usually they're just trying to get your information, your personal info or your financial info. So just be really careful because it moves really fast. And so next thing you know, you sort of click and apply, and supposedly this alleged employer is calling you, wanting to schedule an interview, and but they're doing it on text and your Facebook Messenger or whatever, things like that. It's always from a fake account. But you say, oh, okay, I'll be glad to do an interview over the phone or whatever it is. And then next thing you know, you've got a job offer. And what happens? Fake check scam. They want to send you that check to start the job process. But in order to do that, they want to also get all your information for their human resources records, right? They want to get your direct deposit information, or do the W-9 and those kind of things for the taxes. And then all of a sudden, your information is gone, and probably your money too. So you've got to be really careful when you're applying for jobs in a way where you're not seeing somebody face to face, and I mean in person face to face, not on Zoom and Teams and all that kind of stuff, because they can also do fake accounts there, right? You want to be in person. You want there to be a brick and mortar office somewhere that you can call and do your research on, not by clicking on your phone or on your computer on a job website. So here's how to avoid those job scams and make sure you're not passing up that good job opportunity. As I've already said, do some research, okay? Check out the company, see if it's real. Find out what their real phone number is. And call the company to see if there really is that job opportunity. And you may find that, no, we don't have any job openings right now. So that's one way. Also, just talking to someone that you trust. It could be a family member, it could be a coworker, a neighbor, somebody that you think has some good sense and would just be kind of somebody else to bounce it off of, and tell them kind of what this offer is looking like, where you got it, what you're having to do to apply for it, interview for it, and those sorts of things, to see what they think. And sometimes just having that second opinion makes you start thinking a little harder about it as well. And then, of course, back to the fake check scams. Don't ever pay for a job or pay for equipment. That's a real red flag when it comes to these kind of job opportunities. It's definitely going to be a scam, because no company is sending you a check in real life. Okay, so let's talk about the work from home job scam, right? Now, a lot of us want to work from home, and a lot of companies are allowing that, right? So the scammers know that too. And so they're putting out advertisements, whether it's online or elsewhere, sometimes just, in flyers and things like that. And it's work from home, it'll be great. And a couple of the things that we usually see with this are, nowadays anyway, is reshipping products, and then some kind of scam that involves you selling things to people maybe through a pyramid scheme or something like that. And they always sound really good, because you can be your own boss, you can start your own business, set your own schedule. It always sounds great. So we always say, remember, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is too good to be true. So it's not true. So instead of making money on the job, you end up paying for stuff, right? Starter kits, training certifications, things like that, or they send you a check so that you can use part of it to pay for supplies, and send that back to them so that they can do something with the money. Anytime you're taking in a check and got to send somebody else money out of it, that is a scam, and it's definitely a fake check. So be really careful about that. Those fake checks are all over the place. And then just the final thing, which is something that we all should realize. If they're offering you a job that claims you're going to make a lot of money in a very short period of time with not much work, that's probably a scam. That just doesn't happen these days, right? Only to maybe those few select people that are able to do that. Okay. As I was saying, there's a couple of examples on these work from home job scams these days. The one is the reshipping scam, right? And this is where they're saying, oh, we need, quality control managers and so forth. And so here's the ways that our friends at the FTC say you can spot a reshipping scam, okay? So you're hired, and your job is to receive packages at your home. You throw away the original packaging and the receipts. You repackage the products and reship them to an address that you give. That sounds kind of fishy, right? It is. It's fishy. It's a scam. Lots of times the address is overseas and the products probably have been stolen, you know, and they're high priced goods that are being sold for a much lower price. So never a real job. You don't want to get into the middle of these things where you're part of the scam. I've had clients who that's happened to before. So you really want to be careful because, you know, if you unwittingly get involved, it's very rare that the authorities will accept that you just didn't know. Like, oh, I just didn't know. I didn't realize. So be careful. That's not really a very good excuse. Yeah, and then you'll get your first paycheck after you've worked for a month. Check never arrives. That's a good one, right? And then, you know, afterwards you try to contact them. Phone number's no good. And obviously they now have all your personal information and they may have gotten use of your bank account. The reselling the merchandise scams is another one. And, you know, anytime you get a call out of the blue from a stranger, you know, you really should hang up, right? But sometimes it's some stranger offering you a job opportunity and, you know, it also can be an ad in the newspaper, but I don't think we see too many of those anymore. Not many of us are reading the newspaper except the older generation. And then they say you can make money buying these fancy luxury products, but selling them at less than retail prices, so you can resell them for a profit. But you're having to actually buy the products yourself, and then they never come. Okay, and if it does come, it's usually crap. It's a junk. So watch out for those for sure. Those are some good examples. Happens a lot, so be careful. The mystery shopper scam, that has been around for quite a long time. And there are legitimate, you know, there have been legitimate mystery shoppers. I don't know if they still have legitimate ones. I think some stores do. But it's, you know, just getting paid to shop for somebody else. And it could be, you know, a good job because you can do it one of those ones on your own time, right? So there are some that are an honest job, but most of them, probably many of them at least, are scams. Keep in mind that if it's a legit mystery shopping company, they're not going to make you do things like um, pay for a certification, directory of jobs, job guarantees, and things like that. Yeah, always if someone asks you to pay to get a job, it's going to always be a scam. You shouldn't have to pay to get a job, right? No payment for a job. If they want you to deposit that check and send the money back, big check scam. So that happens in that mystery shopper scam as well. It's definitely a thing. Now, here's another one that we see a lot of. Nanny and caregiver job scams, right? It's out there so much that the Federal Trade Commission has a graphic about it. And there you go. So nanny, caregiver for a sick person or an older person, even a virtual personal assistant. There's a lot of those legit jobs as personal assistants, virtual assistants now, but a lot of scams, okay? So they post the fake job ads, right, on the job sites, like the ones we've mentioned and some of the newer ones that are out there. And then the emails can look like they're coming from maybe somebody you know, somebody who's in your community, maybe someone who says they have been referred to you as a possible job applicant by someone that you know. And yeah, that stuff is so easy to find out. You know, if you're on Facebook, those kind of things, they can see your information. They can find out just some names of people and places that you might recognize and make you think that that is legit, right? And so if you contact those people and you get involved with them, you better be really careful. and you better do your own research. Just because your mother's daughter's best friend supposedly referred you for this job doesn't mean that she really did. So you want to contact your mother and get from her the number of her best friend's daughter, if it's not somebody that you know a number for, and call them and say, hey, did you refer me for this job? No, I don't know what you're talking about. And so it turns out to be a scam. So, you just got to be very careful about those things. And then again, if you do, take the job, then after, probably right off the bat, but certainly after a period of time, suddenly, you're like, well, when do I start? And there's actually no job, but you've already given them your personal information. You've already shared financial information. You may have received a check from them and deposited it. It's quite possible that these kind of scammers will say, oh, the job will start in 30 days, and that gives them time to complete their stealing of your information. You've got that paycheck scam with that as well. Okay, here's some ways to spot those. Obviously, don't send money to someone who says they want to hire you. Honest employers never do that, right? Don't feel pressured to act immediately. So lots of times a scammer who's proposing a job that's a scam is going to say, oh, well, this job is only open for the next 48 hours. So, but we like your resume, or we think you're a great fit for the job, something like that. And then, boom, you've accepted that as true and gone ahead and given your information and thinking that you've actually got a job. But because they hurried you, you weren't able to really think about the specifics of what's going on and realizing that it's scary. Another thing one of the reasons you want to take time is so you can research this company, this person, and make sure that it's legit. And again, talk to somebody that you trust. And that's particularly true if there's been a reference or something. Like sometimes we say there's, a reference from a school that you went to or a previous job that you had. And if you don't contact those and find out if that's actually something that happened, then you may find that it's a scam. Okay, here's another one that's happening a lot, so much so that the Federal Trade Commission has a nice graphic about it, and that's college students. Right now, I think right now, maybe there's more jobs than there were in recent times for college students who maybe are looking for a job over the summer, or maybe even on holiday break or something like that. And so this is a place where scammers are jumping right in and realizing that college students are looking for work. So this is where they are looking for summer employment, maybe even permanent employment. And you are approached by someone, quite often, on social media, which is where so many people, especially in college, are living, so to speak. And if they seem to be a recruiter for some great company that you're interested in working for, right? Oh, if I could just get this summer internship, maybe I can get a permanent job there. Or maybe you're getting ready to graduate and they're acting like there's permanent jobs available. And so the scammer will try to connect it somehow to your college that you go to, right? Well, we found you on this list of excellent students at, whatever university, and you're on the dean's list, and Professor so-and-so that you might have mentioned on Facebook or Instagram or something said you were a terrific student. And then they start just, they get your trust, they start to make you feel good about yourself and that this is really a legit thing. And, as it says here, they might grab pictures of you, landmarks from your campus at your college, and or even say that there's somebody that you went to school with or that you're now going to school with. Any number of ways that they can get you to trust that it's a real job. And then next thing is virtual interviews, of course, or maybe even just telephone interviews. And these days they can spoof that phone number so you think you know who it's coming from, but you really don't because they've spoofed somebody else's phone number. But interview, and then they say, well, we'd like to offer you the job. We're going to need you to do our usual HR paperwork. And companies have that. We have that here at Legal Services. There's paperwork you have to, complete to officially start a job with us, and that seems legitimate. But if you haven't determined if it's a legitimate outfit, if it's a legitimate job before getting that information, then you're turning your personal information, your social security number, and everything else over to a scammer. So, you shouldn't have to be so concerned about what's out there when you're looking for a job, but you better be careful. And that's why these scams are in our Hall of Shame this year. Okay, so your identity has been stolen, and that's a problem, as we all know. But as I said at the beginning, if you do get your identity stolen, you can go to identitytheft.gov and start the process there of trying to recover from that, because it can really mess up your life. Okay. And again, some advice on how you can avoid those bogus job offers. If you're a student, check the references, obviously, and then scrutinize those email addresses. We're all talking these days about phishing scams and fake emails and all that. So we're, I think, more and more trained to, when you get kind of an odd email, you want to look at the email address that it came from. It might be saying that it's, from a company that you recognize, and so you think it's legitimate. But if you look at the email address, it might just have one letter off in the name of the company, and that is a red flag. So be careful, because systems can be hacked as well. And then if they, start asking for that personal information too quick, that's definitely going to be high potential really for a scam. So just hold off, don't give that personal information. A couple of others to talk about, and this is one of them, job placement services. There are a lot of good agencies out there who do great staffing work. And so that's one of the first places that some people go when they are job hunting, is to a staffing agency. And it's a great way to find a legitimate job, but you want to keep in mind that if they are promising things that seem too good to be true, then they probably are too good to be true. So the scammers will do things like promote outdated or fake job openings. Or they may have a charge, like an upfront fee to cover some cost or something. Regular staffing agencies and headhunters and those, they don't do that. They don't charge a fee because it's the person, it's the job, it's the company that they're recruiting for that pays them, right? When I was in private practice with my own law firm, there were several times that I've hired people through a staffing agency that had, legal type candidates that you could interview through them. And then when you hired the person, you paid a fee to the placement agency. So that's how that works. Okay, it doesn't work with you paying them. If you get asked for a fee on one of those, it's a scam, so turn it off. Okay, now the government and postal jobs are a scam right now. Okay, that information is out there online on the federal government website. Always free to apply for those. So don't ever respond to those type of job recruitments or offers. And of course, don't pay to get the job, because that does not happen with the government. So usajobs.gov is where you can find those openings, and there's always a lot of them these days. And then, of course, with the post office, usps.com/employment. Okay, this is just a final run through about, some of the steps you should avoid before accepting a job offer and giving out your personal information. We've kind of talked about this in each of the steps that we've gone through. And of course, I mentioned it at the beginning as sort of one of the themes is being careful, researching who you're dealing with, talking to someone who's a trusted person. Don't pay anything for the job, and then don't think that they're going to send you a check in the mail that's going to be any good, unless you've researched them and determined that they're fully legit and it's a real job, and maybe you are getting a first paycheck or some kind of a signing bonus. But just be very wary. Okay. Another graphic from our friends at the Federal Trade Commission, and that is on if you have been guaranteed that you're going to make money on some sort of business or investment. Now, this is a huge area, so I'm just going to touch on a couple of things, and then later this summer we'll have a couple of more in this series about other kinds of business and investments scams that we don't cover today. Now, online business coaching. This is a big one these days. There's a lot of folks online, whether it be YouTube, Instagram, or just some website of their own, and they're saying, oh, you can make big money. I'm going to teach you the proven method. And sometimes they will say that they're an affiliate of some other individual or company. And here's the top 4 things they say. Well, you can make 5 to 6 figures if you just follow our system. Learn from the experts on how to generate income. You can be making money now, guaranteed. Our students make between 50 to 100% return on their investment in the first year. That's a lot of malarkey, okay? And but that's the kind of stuff that scammers will tell you, and they make it sound like it's just as easy as it can be. But there's always a catch, and it usually involves you paying money for the coaching or for the course that they have. Now, granted, there are a lot of good business coaches out there, and there are some good training courses, no doubt. But you want to, again, do your research. Make sure who this is. Check with people who have taken the course or who have used this person as a coach, and just make sure that you have check them out fully before you go paying your hard-earned money that you may need to keep to make your mortgage payment instead. So, but here's the things. Again, take your time, talk to someone you trust, do your research. And as I said, you want to be careful about talking to people who actually have had experience with it, not just testimonials and success stories that they've got on their website, but real people who have actually done the course or used the coach. Check out the coach's credentials. And there may be some kind of licensing requirement, but quite often there is not really anything that's required by state law. And so that's an area where we find a lot of lying happen. Right? Oh yeah, I'm certified by the state of South Carolina as a fill in the blank coach or a fill in the blank trainer, and so just be careful about that. And of course, the upsell is always there with those folks. You might, pay for a download of a toolkit, right? And then they've got your email address, and they're going to send out some other requests for you to purchase their wares, so to speak. Okay, here's another one, real estate seminar and investment coaching scam. This is really just a similar thing to what I'm already was just talking about, but it's we see it out there a lot with real estate. Okay, where here's how you can make money buying and selling real estate, and sometimes you can make money buying and selling real estate, but you don't need someone who is a coach or a trainer of some sort that lives on the other side of the country that you actually never see, but you bought their course and it doesn't work. I had a client many years ago who bought a course and thought he was going to make money investing in real estate, and then got in trouble with it because it wasn't legit the way that it was taught to be done, at least not in South Carolina. And it was hard to convince him that it wasn't legit. So you got to be careful about that. Okay. This is also just a little graphic from the Federal Trade Commission about things you should do before you accept a business offer. Take your time, of course. Be skeptical about those success stories and testimonials. Don't bank on a cleared check. I love that. And then finally, do your research. So that's all I have for today, but I just want to remind our viewers that we will have future episodes on some other business scams that are a whole nother level to go into in detail. So that'll be multi-level marketing businesses and pyramid schemes. And there are some legit multi-level marketing businesses. And then real estate and investment opportunity scam, not necessarily the coaching and the training, but the business opportunity. So we'll be scheduling some more episodes on those two this summer. We hope that you will join us. For those, just sign up to make sure you're getting all the information. Here's how to apply for our services. You can scan that QR code and go right to it. And you can do it by phone, Monday through Thursday, 9 to 6, or online. And then, let's see, Sally, are there any questions? Let's see here.
I do not see any questions in the chat.
All right. So, yeah, just sign up for that newsletter one more time if you didn't catch that at the beginning. There's the QR code you can scan. And if there aren't any questions, then we will give you one more chance with our Connect card. Keep in mind that if you sign up for notifications on our YouTube channel, obviously subscribe first if you're not already a subscriber, but subscribe and sign up for the alerts so you'll know every time we post an episode. That's a recording of our episodes, which we always do. And then also, if you scan the QR code, you can give us your information so that we can put you into our email system and send you out the emails that we have that will give you information on registering for upcoming episodes. And then third and final on getting information about upcoming episodes is on our website at www.sclegal.org. And you just go to events and the calendar, and you can just click on any of the upcoming Tuesdays, and it'll take you right to the registration. So there's several ways that you can connect with us on Level Up Law, but also here's all the other ways that you can connect with us here at South Carolina Legal Services, all of our social media handles. So check those out, like and subscribe. We're always sending out great information and resources and news and events. So we invite everyone to do that. So that concludes today's webinar. But I do want to thank everyone in the audience. Thanks, Sally, for being there and substituting for producer Kenneth, who was on a well-deserved vacation. And just want to remind our viewers of the upcoming episode next Tuesday, which we're in Second Chances Month. As I said earlier, this is Financial Literacy Month, but it's also Second Chances Month, where we talk about some of the barriers to reentry into society for folks who have just come out of incarceration. So we've got a couple of episodes on that for you. And it's also Fair Housing Month, so we have a couple of housing related episodes that you'll want to know about. But the first one next week is with our employment law unit head, Stephanie Vanderhorst, who will be talking about sex offender registry removal. So the sex offender registry can have a real effect on you getting a job. And there are some ways that that can be removed from your record, and she's going to talk about those. So definitely stay tuned for next week. That's all we've got for today. Thanks so much for joining in, and we'll see you next time on Level Up Law. That concludes today's webinar. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.